We left Snow Canyon State Park, headed north on the 18. Continued on up to the 56. Is that right, Ange?
Yeah, we're on the 93.
Well, we are now, but we went on the
56.
Yeah, to the 56. Then cut over to the 93 into Nevada. Now we're basically shooting straight up north. We passed by the Mountain Meadow Massacre location, which actually took me by surprise. For some reason, I had it in my head that had occurred closer to the Cedar City area, but we didn't stop because the parking lot was very small, and didn't want to try to back this big girl in and out. So we're on our way to Great Basin National Park. We want to do the Lehman cave tours. And, you know, just like anything else with us, last minute, I thought we'd better call and even find out if they did tours on Sunday, tomorrow, and found out that, yeah, they do, but yeah, they're all booked. So, it's going to change our plans a little bit. We went ahead and got us some tickets reserved for Monday, which doesn't really affect our plans a lot. We'll see if the RV park we're staying in is going to let us do like a late checkout, or we may have to hook up and see if we can get this big girl parked up at the visitor center parking lot. As you can see in front of us, nobody coming or going except us. Hey everybody, well, we're about to head up to the Lehman Cave Visitor Tour Center, which is actually closed, to meet with the tour to do the Lehman Caves. It's a blustery day.
Yes, it is.
And we just stopped here at the visitor center itself, got checked in for the tour, and went through a little orientation, and we had to dip our shoes in Lysol because we have been to the Carlsbad this year, and not sure if we were wearing these shoes or not, but apparently there's a spore that can be carried from cave to cave, and they want to make sure that we were disinfected.
There you go.
So we disinfected the cameras, dipped our shoes in Lysol, now I have wet feet. Are your feet wet?
No.
Mine are wet.
How
That's
did you
okay
get
though.
Wet?
Because apparently my shoes soaked up the Lysol mix. I don't know. Anyways, so we're off. We're off to meet the other, he said there was like 16 or 17 people in our tour, but there's nobody else here. So, just weird where we had to get checked in that we haven't seen anybody else. Anything that's weird? He said there's 16 people in the tour. Our tour guide will be Rebecca, but we didn't see anybody else.
Well, let's go up.
All right, we're on our way. It's snowing on us.
Beautiful. Views of the cave. This is a cross section. It's a very flat horizontal cave. Possibly it dissolved out at the top of an ancient water table. There's probably other processes involved, but we will be going pretty much straight back into the mountain, but the mountain will be rising above us. So the deepest will be is about 200 feet below the surface.
Wow.
We'll go underneath the natural entrance right here, and this is where our bats live. Our Townsend's big-eared bats are sound asleep. They're sleeping through the winter. There's nothing to eat out here. We don't want to wake them up. We'll end up in the Gothic Palace. We'll go through the music room. We'll end up in the lodge room, and we'll end up finally in the Grand Palace, and then we'll make our way back out again. So about 0.6 miles of cave. Each other. So this was on its way to Nevada. 550 million years later, here it is, still moving northward. It's been on quite a journey. It's been through mountain building episodes, raised up the turbulence of the earth, cracked. It's a very, very fractured limestone, which is great for building an ornate, decorated cave like this. It's also been heated from below by magma, rising up, intruding into the layers below, heating up water, heating up stone. So now you can see it's been slightly cooked or metamorphosed into a low-grade marble. Do you see the marbling pattern up there? Okay. So Pole Canyon marble, really. But it still has a really important characteristic for building a cave like this. When it comes in contact with a weak acid, it will dissolve. So all you need to do to create a weak acid is just let it snow like it's doing right now. That snow will melt. It will percolate, the water will percolate down through the organic matter in the soil. It will pick up carbon dioxide. It will form carbonic acid. So have any of you enjoyed any carbonic acid today? Maybe for lunch?
Coca-Cola.
Maybe that Coca-Cola. That's right, soda pop. Okay. I always think about that and realize maybe that's why they say it's not good for our teeth. Heliotherms. So those little droplets, now they let loose the carbon dioxide, it comes out of solution, and the limestone is deposited. So these are the first things to form right here, these soda straws. That little droplet deposits the limestone around the outside of the drop, slowly building a long, hollow straw, which will eventually plug up, and then the water will start running down the outside, and you'll get one of these. So we made some mistakes in the cave, and the cave in turn has taught us some things that we needed to know. Too bad we didn't know them right off the bat. But when Ab Lehman first came into this cave, it was a pristine cave. Never touched by human beings as far as we know, never damaged. It was just in perfect condition. Nobody really understood how these speleothems grew at that time. They didn't know how long it took. And so Ab Lehman, being the businessman and the good-hearted person that he was, wanted his folks to be happy. And he told his group, you guys, if you can break it, you can take it. Oh. I'm glad you moaned. That's good. We know better, right? Okay, so we know that that is really a bad policy. It's certainly not a Park Service policy. And one of the reasons that is so is because we have since basically gained a perspective from our mistakes that shows us exactly how long that kind of damage takes to repair itself. So if you look up here, first of all, this is the most obvious break right here. This used to be called the lucky stalactite, and people used to rub their palms against this, I guess to ensure a lucky journey through the cave, but it wasn't so lucky for the stalactite. There's a lot of finger or handprints on that piece. If you look over here to some of the smaller ones, though, you'll see something occurring. What's going on here?
It's regrowing.
It's regrowing. The cave is healing itself. So the breakage we know stopped by 1922, and this became a national monument.
90 years.
90 years to grow that little inch of soda straw. Whoa, now that's a perspective. So an inch per century to grow the cave back. So the good news is it will grow back. The bad news is it's not going to grow back for a very, very long time.
It will come back gradually.
It will come back gradually. All right, so if we look behind us then, we look at this huge structure here. Now we have a perspective that Ab Lehman did not have. How long do you think that took to grow?
Oh goodness.
100 years,
Thousands of years.
hundreds, thousands? How about millions?
Millions.
Millions. millions of years. Okay, so the oldest structure that we have dated in the cave was about 2.2 million years old. We haven't done enough work in that area. But that helps us start to age the cave itself. The cave is, you noticed on the map, it's sitting horizontal through layers that are tilted upwards. So the cave came in after the tilt occurred. Otherwise, it would be tilted, right? So between 2.2 and 10 million years old. It's an old cave, and we're still learning more about it all the time. Any idea how they were doing that?
Water.
Water? We've actually had people break out into song in this room. That's not how they were doing it back in the old days, though. So those folks that came in to break and take probably started tapping on these draperies right here with little mallets, recognizing their crystal structure, their different thicknesses. Each one produces its own musical note. So we no longer do this. It's really hard on the resource. And if you look at them with a light, you'll see they've been pretty beat up. So that's not our mission, to beat up the resource. So it no longer happens. But if you're curious to know what that sounds like, there is a cave in Virginia who actually hooked up a pipe organ to their cave draperies, the Luray Cavern in Virginia. Has anyone been there?
No.
A great big loop trail that went to the cave. But we don't go that way anymore. We stopped in 1981 when we realized that the talus room, this huge football-sized room, is probably unstable. So in a karst landscape like this, as the limestone hollows out like this, the really big rooms that get bigger and bigger can eventually collapse. So in that room, there seems to be some problems with the floor. There's a little bit of mud on the floor that seems to be moving around. And we were also watching a crack that seems to be getting slightly bigger. So this is a very slow process, but we don't want to be back there when things start falling from the ceiling. So that's why we don't do that loop trail anymore. So we stick to all the stable parts of the cave. However, the biologists, park ecologists go back there all the time. They do surveys of all the caves in the park. There's over 40 caves in the park. And they're checking for cave life, cave biota, cataloging it. And we have found life in these caves that exists nowhere else in the world. Uh-oh, you guys sound like you're getting low on oxygen. So these structures right here are called limestone dams, and they're a sign of standing water, and they can get very tall. So what we're going to do next is we're going to duck under this low spot right here and head down into the Grand Palace. Please use the railing as we go down the slope. It's very slick, and sometimes people's feet can slide out from underneath them. Push it up. So welcome to the Grand Palace, everyone. So I'm just going to cut you loose and let you explore, but I wanted to give you one warning. So the room back there is the sunken garden, and it can fit about 6 people at a time. This walkway has no railing, so it's very important that you don't push anybody or bump into anybody as you're walking back there. So about 6 people at a time, and then we'll just take turns. Otherwise, if anybody needs a light to look at the times, right?
Want a bath?
Maybe not.
Is there water down there? Are you sure you don't want a bath?
I'm positive.
Pretty cool.
See, it looks like somebody broke them. But she said that she thinks that this might be part of a condensation. So we've had a rise in carbon dioxide in the cave, which has created an acidic vapor that might be actually now taking our cave decorations apart. Condensation corrosion. These cupolas that are in the ceiling are also part of that carving out process. And back in the lodge room, there's some really easy to spot bubble trails. Trails or bubbles that of sulfuric acid vapor that actually hollowed out the ceiling back there. And actually started to dissolve some of the helium atoms. So we're learning what all the stories are that are written on this rock. So, any questions, comments? She said that Gretchen, our ecologist, thinks that it might be more from climate change. So, that's why we did limit the tours to 20 people, though, because we found that it's harmful to the cave to have more than that kind of tours. All right, so we're going to start making our way up.
The acoustics are great.
So check out that view. We're here at the Lehman Cave Visitor Center, and it's overlooking that gorgeous valley. So Angie was picked to be
The sweep.
the sweep. She was the ranger's helper today, Ranger Angie.
Yes.
And there was 16 of us in the tour, and I really enjoyed it.
So did I. It was very tight and small, and you got to see a lot of things really close up.
This seemed more intimate than Carlsbad, so
It did.
anyways, awesome. And we're going to head back to the trailer and prep for a 300-mile
Onward home journey.
home journey. But it was snowing when we walked in here, and then we come out and it's really cleared up, and that is really a fantastic view of the valley, I think.
It is.
So
It's beautiful.
all right. Well, but it is still chilly. The
previous snow is freezing.
the snow has gone. The sky has opened up, and now it's clear, and it's getting cold. Of course, it is supposed to drop down into like 5 degrees tonight, possibly. So, all right, everybody. So, hey, if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and join our journey.
Bye.
Thanks for watching.